Oh. This meeting of the Lapeer County Commission will come to order. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Commissioner Hageman?
Here.
Commissioner Knapp?
He's not here today.
Commissioner Neisman?
Here.
Here.
Commissioner White?
Here.
Commissioner Zimmer?
Here.
Here. We would ask that the Commissioner Hagedorn do the opening prayer and Commissioner Wise follow with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Heavenly Father, we come before you to ask for your guidance as we conduct the people's business. We pray that you wrap your loving arms around California as they deal with these devastating fires. I pray that you be with our troops, be with the county of Lapeer and the state of Michigan. In your name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to thank everyone for coming out on this very cold Michigan morning. You're dedicated to public issues, obviously, be here. Our first item is the approval of the agenda, and I would ask that we add the item of veteran services name change to additional items on the agenda.
I'll move to approve
I
the
would
agenda
move.
with the addition of the veterans issue.
Okay. Moved by Commissioner Nisley, supported by Commissioner Wise. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
You have before you the draft minutes from the December 12th, 2024 Committee of the Whole meeting. Is there a motion to approve, or are there corrections to those minutes?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Support.
Okay. Moved and supported, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. I don't know if we have any overnight, is that the overnight travel
Yeah.
request there? Okay. They're in the folder and will be passed around for everybody to take a look at. Next is department head updates. I see we have the sheriff here in the front row. I don't know if do you have anything
Sure.
to share with us?
Thank you. First of all, congratulations, everyone. Welcome. We are excited to obviously have another new year, and congratulations to you, sir, for the chairman position. Long year. Personally, it was. Obviously, too, I'm about to be back in uniform after all the surgeries, so that'll be coming soon. Overall, for the department, a lot of fun stuff. We're moving on the millage stuff. Obviously, those of you that were on personnel and property, we were able to do, I think, a ton of fantastic things this year. Our projects are all done inside the jail. That came, obviously, we did some of the stuff with the millage money, but even ARPA money there. But our system, after the incident we had with the hanging, or attempt hanging, where our guys were able to stop it so quickly, unfortunately, the gentleman lived. But that system that we have now, and I encourage, I love, Kevin and I were talking about this before, about coming out, have you guys come out and see how it is. It's top notch. And fortunately, all that does is make it easier on the county, obviously liability sakes, things like that. But the safety of not only the inmates, but especially the deputies too. So it's fairly common when you're locked up like that, you got tussles and things like that happen in there where we get deputies that have to get put in bad spots. So that was big. Equipment, we've really drastically upgraded our emergency equipment, especially in the patrol cars. Eric Kanyak, which you will see at different times in properties and stuff, kind of is in charge of building up our cars. And if you see the way that we're doing them now, we have people from all over the state that are coming to look at our cars. Why is that important? Because obviously with the lighting system, we even have a new vibration system that's put into some of the new cruisers as they're being built. That when their lights and siren, it's a huge vibration system that's under the front of it where the sirens are. And at first I kind of thought of it more of as a gimmick because it just didn't make sense to me. But unfortunately what you have, especially with kids, things like that, but a lot of times you run hot coming up behind cars, people got their music up, things like that, and don't hear the sirens. The vibration thing, your whole car rattles from the road. So it's very, very interesting. The lighting system, again, a lot of the safety equipment in the cars. So we want to make sure that our people are safe. And all these projects are from the millage. So we're very, very grateful for that. We've obviously added some people. I looked, obviously, especially the people that have been around for a long time. I was looking the other day, I just obviously finished my 8th year in the position. We've hired 18 road deputies since I've been here. If you take a look before that, that's drastic number of changes. So we're excited. We got some fantastic new young people that are coming in that I think are gonna be fantastic. One of the other things in those promises that I put in there was the detective bureau, major changes to the detective bureau. That has since happened. We just, and he's actually working on a case right now, so he wasn't able to be here. But Bob Wells is the new detective lieutenant that's in charge of the entire detective bureau now. We also added another detective, like the promises we made in the village. So our detective bureau right now is completely all new people, and I'm really excited about it. From not no diss on the past people, but they one of the pieces with the village too is training, because we're able to offer now. Before it was we kind of skimmed by on whatever the state would pay for, or what we had here. We have these people going all over to specialize in them, in the promises of the cyber crimes, obviously the children, sex side of online things, a lot of our adult stuff, our elderly. So we're really focused on that. We got detectives that are going all over the place training with that. Multiple other things that I won't bore you with. I know it's your first meeting back or second. One of the things that also was in the village that we talked about is having the additional deputies down here. And that went back and forth for years, truthfully. That was one of the things that people spoke the most about here, especially our people, as in the employees down here, our family here. So it's been a huge success. I can say that's probably one of the things I get the most comments on and things for, is because of having them down here. Because it's for the safety of everybody in this room right now. And there's a lot of crazy things that happen in these courtrooms and in these hallways, especially with, volatile situations like divorces, child custodies, criminal stuff. But I want to give you the stats for '24. When people look at it, I gotta be honest with you, I was surprised with the numbers of people that came through or that were screened. But there's a lot of people that are in this building, and a lot of times we don't realize what those numbers were. But so for 2024, obviously Sergeant Wilkinson is the one that oversees all of it down here. For 2024, people screened that came through the metal detector, 1,026, just over 126,000 people. I didn't expect that. I mean, I knew it was a lot, but I didn't expect it to be over 126,000 people. Disturbances that they responded to, fights, family things, whatever, actual calls that were inside the courthouse, 251. Edge weapons recovered, either at the, as they were coming in, so those are knives, 1,581 were recovered in that time. Mace, 129, there were 17 guns that were recovered as they were coming into the building. Now, let's be truthful, we're in Lapeer County and I wanna keep it that way. Obviously I encourage CCWs and I want you carrying a gun. A big majority of those things are people that just forget, that come in. Some that haven't been here in a couple of years that knew that we didn't have security again, or back then. So I wanna point that out, that the majority of people, it was just a mistake, that they forgot to not bring it in. The amount of arrests in this building by our deputies is 268. Transports, so you're taking inmates to the jail and back here, a little over 800. Warrants sworn out, 334. And then they fingerprinted 92 people, because community corrections does the majority of those. That's why they're looking at the calls from Jeff from 911, we answered. I wasn't able to pull last night to compare like with Lapeer City and stuff, but so the state police, we're on with the state police on our Clemens system. Calls that we responded to in Lapeer County, the sheriff department responded to. For example, the state police did 3,200 calls last year. We did 20,000, so it was actually just two under 20,000. So busy year, those numbers are, kind of stay accurate, they're a little bit down right now. I think it's been helpful for multiple reasons, but that's the basics. I'll keep kind of coming in and giving different stats with it. There's a lot of things happening now, especially that my surgeries are over. We're kind of entering into the end of phase 2 on the millage stuff, so we got a lot of big things planned for 25. I'd also encourage, as we do this, especially for the new commissioners that are coming in, is to come out and see us. I'd love to have all of you come out and see that camera system, because like I said, you were responsible for why that's there, to see how impressive it is, and see the good things that the guys and girls are doing. Any questions from anybody?
Are there any questions from any commissioners?
How many contract deputies do you have?
18.
18.
I won't say any names,
No.
but I have, I've had some other townships reach out to me asking for numbers. So we'll kind of see how that is. Currently, we have 8.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Commissioner Zender.
So the 262 or whatever arrests that were made, is that like the courts asking you guys to place these people under arrest, you know, after,
It's a little bit of, it's multiple things, but yes, that's one of the big ones of when they come in, they'll know on the dockets that, hey, they've got outstanding warrants, things like that. But a lot of them, unfortunately, because of probate court, things like that, a lot of times it turns into assaults or things like that that are actually in the hallways or, you know, entering the building, so. And those are called in by our people. Obviously, they radio right to our people directly. But yeah, you get some crazy things down here just because it's so intense. And that's why it's important too, when we talk about the weapon stuff coming in, some people just, I mean, when you're losing your child, you know, in a court case or a judge rules on something, it's just, you're not in your right mindset. But it's kind of a little bit of both of those things. So that's a good question.
well, and then you said edged weapons. So is a person allowed to bring in a pocket knife?
We actually seize that.
Okay.
You know, and you're gonna get, and you get it, I get people that talk to me all the time that, you know, from the side of having people at the front door, because Lapeer County was the last one in the state that didn't have anybody at the door. I understand the argument of rights. I mean, like I said, I'm a huge gun person. I want everybody to have a gun on them, every good person. But on the same side, talking about the way the courts are, probates, divorce, all the other things, and seeing the amount of incidents that happen here, we just try to keep it so that when that thing blows off, they don't have something that ultimately could, you know, cause way more injury to somebody. So, but we do take those. We return them back. We allow anybody that comes to the front door that has something, because people forget, like I said, pocket knives are a perfect thing. Everybody carries them. So a lot of times, we know that that's it. It's not, there's no confrontation at the thing. It's, hey, you're welcome to bring it back to your car. You can leave it here and come pick it up when you go. We don't, that's not our job. We're just trying to keep this building safe.
Yeah.
And make sure that people get their property back.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Commissioner McMahon.
Yes, sir.
I've seen studies in cities where, that show that a very small percentage, like tiny percentage of the population is responsible for the vast majority of the criminal activity.
True.
And is that something that you've looked at here in Lapeer County as far as, you know, numbers for, you know, repeat offenders and, you know, what percentage of the community is responsible for?
Yeah, and you recidivism, I always hate that word. I hate trying to say recidivism, or how we say it, but we see that, we really track that in the jail too, is to see what our repeat is. You take nationwide, the rate of repeat offenders is close to 70%. You know, I think we've gotten a little bit better in some of our programs and things like that, but, and I think all of you know me fairly well to know that I'm pretty blunt with what I say, but the state talks heavily about how they rehabilitate people. No, they don't. And ultimately, what's the prison doing now is, a lot of these bills that are coming through, they're trying to put them in our jails. That's ultimately what they're trying to do. That's why our sentencing rates are, all these things are coming down in the jail time, because they don't want to put them in the state. So We do track that. It's pretty common. I mean, if you get a chance of coming or talking to some of our deputies, I mean, they know the majority, as they're coming in booking, they already know who they are as they see them walk through the door. So we do track that to see, especially on major crimes. One of the big ones that we have high numbers on is sexual assault on children. And so we watch that one really closely and track things like that. But we do, our rates in Lapeer are definitely lower than other counties. And I'll be honest with you, I attribute a lot of that to our jail and our jail programs. We got some really good people back there. We got our ministry back there. We have a ton of schools and trainings. So we really do focus on trying to make people better while they're here. We're not gonna save everybody, but at least we give them the resources, not only here, but we then follow up with them when they actually ultimately leave to try to get them to CMH, try to get them some of those helps that, you know, the old days or some counties still, they walk out the door and, okay, we'll see you when we see you. Well, a lot of these people, it's fine when they're in jail, especially when you talk about, you know, drug addiction, alcohol addiction. They're fine, and they come out of here healthier than they've ever been in their lives, you know. And obviously Greg knows with the, you know, seeing the process, they're healthy, they feel good, they look good, they've got medical care. But then when they walk out that door and go back to that same friend group, you're all right.
Thank you.
You can go back to that old friend group, old environment. It's really hard for them to fight some of those demons. So we try to help them when they go out, whether they choose to take that, that's kind of up to them.
Oh, and then what about illegal immigrant crime?
So I get asked that a lot. Actually, Kevin and I talked about it a couple weeks ago. Somebody was in my office yesterday asking about it. I can say, and I always say I'm really honest on it, there's obviously on the nation side, we got a huge problem. In Lapeer County, we don't. I can say in the response that when Kevin and I were talking, I've been here 8 years, I don't know of one illegal immigrant that we've arrested for a crime, the sheriff's department. We got a stronger presence on the east side in Emily City area, so I can't say with chief there of as into how many, but we pretty much, we have all the information that comes in, and I can say in 8 years, not one that I know of. Nationwide, yeah, huge rock. But we watch that pretty closely too. And so we have different things coming in that we get notified if we have them. But I say that honestly on my kids' lives, not one time have I heard of us arresting somebody. So, good question.
Mr. Chairman, I was going to save this till the end, but since you're here and Jeff's here, I'm going to read this now. Moses and I received a email from Chief Mike Voigt, and I want to read this into the public record. City of Lapeer police officers, sheriff's deputies, and Michigan State troopers assisted with traffic control and building evacuation. City DPW responded to assist with securing the water shutoff and ensured the roadway remained safe. This email would not be complete without me highlighting the excellent partnership between our city and county services. We worked seamlessly during this incident. Emergency Manager Sarah Whaley was on scene and was invaluable. She coordinated responses from the American Red Cross, the apartment management to ensure all occupants had shelter and temporary housing. Moreover, she worked with apartment management to make physical or verbal contact with each occupant. This was a perfect example of the importance of the emergency management division of our county. Additionally, Lapeer County EMS dedicated a supervisor and several transporting units to provide firefighter rehab and patient transport, and staffed the command post to ensure we had a unified command. Additionally, the sheriff's office provided traffic control and directed scene support, while central dispatch seamlessly coordinated communications, resource allocations, and incident tracking. Central dispatch handled several firsts for them today, and I couldn't be prouder of them. That is an email in relation to the fire at Village West Apartments, which is in my district, and I want to say thank you to both of you. I know we've all talked till we're blue in the face. Having partnership between cities, townships, and the county we are the exception, not the rule. And I just wanted to say thank you to all involved.
No, and we appreciate that. I think obviously with some of the new commissioners too, that's a great point. And you look at a huge hire for us with Sarah. Sarah is a rock Jen, because people forget, a lot of times dispatch isn't thought of in the mix of that part of it, it's not in this county. Our people are so good in the things that Jeff does, and you can't run a situation like that without your heartbeat, which is your dispatch center. So, and you had mentioned it, but for the new commissioners, just like Brad said, this isn't normal. In other counties, this is not normal, the way the working relationship that we have. And it's everybody, it's every department, it's fire departments, it's EMS, it's exactly what you just read and what, coming from Chief. It is, and I hear a lot of times too, well, it's because Jeremy came from the sheriff's department, and Frisch, we were the same way with Dave. I mean, it's always been that way. And when something happens, it doesn't matter what happens right now in the county. If we need other departments or other resources, it's immediate. Jeff's on it even before we ask for it. So, thank you for reading that into there. I did get that email also, and the only reason I say that is, obviously I retired out of Genesee County, a whole different ballgame than what we're talking about here. You had, there was, you stay in your sandbox, I'll stay in mine.
And just so you know, Commissioner Zender, while the fire was going on, Elmont actually came up and stayed at the Lapeer firehouse, so if there was another fire, they would respond to that.
We are so fortunate in this county, and, you know, you talk about the other municipalities and stuff, but even within the county, the departments working together on different situations, I mean, you just can't be prouder.
Yep.
So.
Thank you. I agree with you.
Any other commissioner comments or questions for the sheriff? I want to thank you for coming here this morning. Not only, obviously, the courthouse security is of interest to all of us here, but more importantly, you're making an accounting to the taxpaying public. They've been very cooperative and generous in funding the extra money for the police departments, and I appreciate you informing the voters and the taxpayers what's been done.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
Great job.
Are there other department heads that have anything? We have two department heads. Jeff, we'll give you first option since you stood up the quickest.
Mr. Chairman, gentlemen, good morning. Congratulations on chairmanship, vice chairmanship. Just wanted to touch briefly on what the sheriff was just talking about. And Chief Vogt had mentioned one of the firsts for central dispatch in that fire last week, and that was the Fire Association implementing a policy that they've had on the books since 2006. To the best of my knowledge, has never been activated before, and that was their manpower strike force team. So when Chief Vogt called for that, what that does is they've had pre-planned other further away departments having 2 or 3 guys get in a truck and be ready to come to, say, the city of Lapeer, like the other week, to provide additional manpower. So they're not depleting the resources from Elmont, taking all their trucks and apparatus up here. They're getting a couple of guys that they have predetermined to help with manpower issues. Because we all know the fire service is woefully low on manpower throughout the entire country. They need more volunteers, just like we're low in 911 dispatch staffing and law enforcement agencies. So that's what that's designed to do, is to help bring in more manpower versus calling an entire department in. And so when the chief called for that on the radio, we pulled out the policy, we made it work, we dispatched them. There's a little confusion in there, but if you're ever inside a dispatch center like ours, you will see it's controlled chaos. But everything went smoothly, went very well. We couldn't be prouder, and I thank the chief for his email. So great partnership. So that's, just wanted to say that. So thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the 911 director? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I believe the friend of the court was the next.
Good morning, Commissioners. Ema Joseph, Lapeer Co Friend of the Court. Just reintroducing myself and introducing myself to those who I've not worked with yet. I hope you all received the cover letter that we placed in your mailboxes. I just wanted to extend the invitation to any of you to contact myself or my secretary should you have any questions with my department, or you wish to have a walkthrough or sit down and discuss operations at any time. And wish you all a Happy New Year. And with that, any questions, I'll get out of your way otherwise.
It's always encouraging not to have questions. That thing must be going fairly smoothly.
I'll take it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other department heads that wish to? We have the health department here.
Well, just real quick, and I hadn't planned on this except for all of the discussion regarding I will be back in front of you in 2 weeks to introduce you to our medical director, but, I just wanted to reiterate the collaboration in the county. 2 jobs ago, I was the EPC for our agency, which is the emergency planner. And as such, I had to attend meetings in Detroit and, all over the place. I remember a meeting down Detroit way with all of the EPCs for that area. And, there was a lot of talk about, trouble getting a hold of the different agencies in their county. And I sat there listening quietly, and they finally looked at me and said, well, we haven't heard from you. And I said, well, I'm not having any difficulty in our county. And they said, well, if you need the emergency planner, what do you do? And I said, I pick up the phone and I call Mary Pernick at the time. They said, and she answers? And I said, yes, she does. And they named a couple others, and I said, well, I pick up the phone and call so-and-so. Just trying to illustrate that it's on more than just that response level, it's other levels as well that you notice very obviously in other counties that we do have something very special here. And I just wanted to reiterate that. So.
We appreciate you reiterating that. Again, going back to our clients, the taxpayers and the residents of Lapeer County, they are great beneficiaries of everything we just heard. The amount of waste that happens in many other municipalities where these turf wars are going on is appalling. And I'm just really proud of Lapeer County and all the departments working together efficiently for the taxpayers. Are there any other department heads that wish to comment? Okay. Next is public time, and as you know, this first public time is restricted to those items specifically on the agenda for today's meeting. There will be a general public time at the end where you're welcome to comment on anything that you wish to speak to. Are there any items on the agenda that require public comment? Okay. Well, it looks like the sheriff is back up again on the agenda with his request for the correction officers training grant reimbursement.
We're glad you're back and healthy.
Thank you, I am too, I appreciate it very much. This is something you're gonna see quarterly, it comes through, we've been doing it for a couple of years now. It's a program through MSA, basically the booking fees that we get. We are a mid-sized county across the state. I mean, you take Oakland County's got 1,200 beds in the jail. We've got 123. But we still are a mid-size compared to a lot of the 83 counties. So it's a program basically that they started, MSA started a few years ago. It fits into our wheelhouse perfectly because of the amount of numbers that we have in our jail. And so basically the booking fee goes to MSA when we get it, the percentage that we as a county would normally get. But if it's in doing that, it doesn't matter what that number is, even if it's low, what numbers have been low. It goes to them, MSA then pays for all of our additional training that's not paid for through the state. Why is that important? Because we're able to specialize people in multiple different areas. So the savings to the county, as in, because it pays room and board, it pays for training, it pays for travel, everything like that. Lieutenant Beebe was actually dealing with the situation this morning, so he wasn't able to be here to give you kind of exact numbers. But it's a huge asset to Lapeer County. We probably use, with what we send in booking fees quarterly, we probably use three to four times that amount. And that we charge MSA, that MSA pays for all our training for our corrections people. So for whatever reason, the way MSA's got it set up, you have to do it quarterly. So it comes through quarterly. Mr. Chairman will have to sign that quarterly. I don't know why they do it that way. It'd be way easier to do it yearly, but that's basically it. So this will be repetitive. You'll see this for many years to come.
Is there a motion as to the approval of the correction officers?
I will
training?
move to approve the Lapeer County Sheriff's Office submission of the correction officers training grant reimbursement for the first half of the calendar year.
Support?
Okay, moved and supported. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we're back to the health department with their request.
Just, if you have any questions. our primary software system that we use in the agency for scheduling, for EMR, for all of that.
Right, so this is just,
It's just a renewal for the next year.
Kathy, is this a cost increase from last year by, you know, how much?
Um,
The percentage or roughly?
I put this in a month ago, and I'm trying to remember the exact dollar amount. I believe it's pretty close to what it was before, but I can get that for you before next time
That's fine.
if you'd like. I apologize for that.
Not a problem, thank you.
I've had a few things on my plate the last few days, and I completely forgot. My mistake.
is there a motion as to the software?
I'll make a motion to approve, pay the annual invoice for Champ Software Incorporated Nightingale Notes Software License Fee in the amount of $33,849 at no additional cost to the county general fund.
Support.
Supported by Commissioner Wise. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kathy.
Apologies for that.
We're good. Next is community corrections. This is again a request to accept grant funds and approve purchase of fingerprint machine. So if you could explain that to us, we'd appreciate it.
I'll do my best. Good morning, everyone. David Stevens, Thumb Regional Community Corrections. So I'm really here this morning on behalf of the county. Fingerprint machine in question, its main purpose is to print juveniles. The fingerprint machine at the jail can't be utilized because there's a sight and sound rule. Juvenile offenders cannot be around adult sight or sound. The county has to have it. It's the one we currently have was purchased. Jackie was nice enough to look it up for me. In 2013, at a cost of roughly $26,000. There's been one upgrade to it since. It was a software upgrade. It's getting old. The printer itself is no longer covered by the service contract due to the age. Replacing that is about $5,000 in itself. This grant, we do have to buy it in advance, and then they reimburse us. So the amount of the grant is the full purchase price. It's pretty straightforward. Do you have any questions?
David, just so I guess the rest of the commissioners know also, all the fingerprinting for the gun permits is done there as well.
Yeah, so other than the criminal fingerprints, which there's other, so the county uses it, when I say the county, the sheriff's department, for people that weren't taken to the jail and booked there, they utilize it for fingerprints. Lapeer Township, Elmont, Dryden, and Emily City, am I missing anybody? I don't think so. All use it to book people if they're not, again, booked at the sheriff's department. The city of Lapeer and Metamora have their own machine, so they don't normally utilize it anymore. We also do the CPLs, which brings in a little bit of revenue. And then school employment, there's a bunch of things you need to be fingerprint for. Car dealership license, liquor license, all that type of stuff requires fingerprinting, which we handle as well.
So this is gonna replace the old machine?
Correct.
And can you explain how that enables you to be able to fingerprint the juveniles too? I'm not clear on that.
So, way back when, before my time here, that machine actually was purchased through a grant. I believe probate submitted it. Because at the jail, the fingerprint machine is back in booking. Juveniles cannot be around adult offenders. Well, where it's at is completely surrounded by adult offenders. So this machine was purchased. Obviously, it's in the office right down here. You can take a look at it if you want, room 83. There's no adult offenders in there, and if there were, we would just have the people waiting to be fingerprinted, not printed at that point. So that's why the machine's down here. That's why it's in this office away from lockup, because it can't be around the adult offenders. So it will do the exact same thing as the machine we have. I believe it's an upgrade. It's the one that the state police is currently using. I believe it captures, I know it captures the prints a little bit better. The camera functions quite a bit better. So it's not only being funded through grants, it's an upgrade to what we're currently using.
Okay.
A little bit more user friendly.
I'll make a motion to approve the acceptance of the grant funds for the purchase of the new live scan fingerprint machine.
Support?
I'll support.
Commissioner Nicely supported. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Very good. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Mr. Chairman? If I
Yes.
may. I knew it was close, I just couldn't remember the exact dollar amount. I emailed I texted my finance person, it's just under $1,000 more. Last year was 32,863. I just forgot what the exact number was, sorry about that. So.
Thanks,
it's close.
Kathy.
I just
Happily,
wanted
it's
to
a
make sure you
relatively
knew.
small number.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Happily, it's a relatively small number. so
Yes,
that's good.
yes.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is simply a notation that we have a vacancy on the Community Mental Health Service Board. It is due to a resignation for a partial term ending in 2026. I would also note that we have vacancies coming up on the Veteran Services Committee. We have one resignation, a second's anticipated shortly, so probably have two vacancies there. And there will be a vacancy on the Library Board. So I'm putting those on the agenda just as an announcement. Clerk will take care of posting those on the website. We'll also be publishing the requisite newspaper notice as to the veterans. There's no further action at this time needed on that. We're looking forward to receiving applications from all interested parties. We have the billing from our Labor Council through November 30th.
I will move to recommend to the full board to authorize payment to Schiffman Fournier in the amount of $1,245 for labor-related legal services rendered through December 31st, 2024, to be paid from line item 101-239-801.020.
Is there support? Commissioner Wise supports. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next, I think maybe our county administrator give us a background on the workers' compensation agreement.
Morning, Commissioners, I'll be happy to do that. So what we're asking for is renewal on our excess workers' comp insurance policy. So the way the county works is we are a self-insured entity when it comes to workers' comp. The state of Michigan allows a municipality to self-insure itself when it comes to workers' comp. Of course, you don't want to leave a blank check for something like that where you unfortunately be involved in a high cost as far as liability situation. So this policy is to cover that excess. So the limit here is $1 million, so anything above that, they start kicking in at a certain amount. So that's my quick thing as far as that's concerned. We do also have a third party called CRS, and they handle any worker comp situations that we handle under the county. So whether someone has to go to see a doctor and, get, like assessed as to whether they are like injured to the point to qualify for workers' comp, they do the administration of figuring out the cost and the delivery of the payments, so on and so forth. So we do pay for that third party, and then after all that's done, that's when we kick in with the excess liability. And from what I was advised, we were one time in the history of the county, we're in a situation where we went into our policy, the excess policy. Yes.
So the premium on this is about $89,000, and the expiring premium from last year was $69,000. So that's like a 25% jump.
It's substantial.
Yeah. Has this been shopped at all, or is this something that,
Yeah.
as far as, seeking competitive rates?
It has not been shopped. It's something that is on my list to do. I do not have a hard date to do this. It is something that we can do. I did do some background checking once I saw this policy come through, or the renewal come through. We have been using the same agent for 2 decades. And my understanding is that we have not shopped. He shops for us, but we have not shopped for another agent. And as you know, when it comes to insurance, sometimes it's good to go to someone new, because they may try and impress you with a better premium, a better policy. I did do a little bit more of a deeper dive on it this morning, in fact. So we, after we renew, we have to give a 60-day notice. We can't give a shorter notice to cancel. And within that period, we start losing, as you know, with insurances, you lose a portion of your premium. You don't get the full dollar amount back. So during that period of 60 days, we will go from 2 to 19% of this 88,000 that we won't be able to get back. So we have to move that super fast.
Would it make sense to do, if we got a good deal, to do a 2-year, to lock that in for another year?
So what I'm told, and it makes a lot of sense to me from my experience, is when it comes to workers' comp, if you get a good rate, if you lock it in for 2 years, it's a good idea because it's a volatile coverage. So yes, it would be a good idea to lock.
Right.
Moses, I have a question.
Yes.
The requirements for workers' comp claims, and my familiarity with our businesses and as far as workers' comp is concerned, when an injured person goes into an emergency walk-in or the hospital ER or whatever, and it's an emergency comp claim, they do a drug test. And if the drug test is positive, the insurance company will not pay the claim. Is that, and I know that might be different in different workers' comp insurance agencies. I know that's the one we got. We get a discount for it too, because they don't have to pay, for people that test positive for drugs. Do we have that?
That's a great question. I don't know, but I will find out. I would think, I have no idea. I would have to go through the pages of the policy,
Yeah.
see if it's there. Yeah.
Because I know a lot of them, when they get hurt, they say, I'm not going, to the doctor. I'm just going to pay for it myself, because they know they're going to get drug tested.
Right. Yeah. We would have to also look at the, union contracts we have, and if there's wording in there that we still would have to cover an employee, even if
Is
they're
that
on
drugs?
hire or something like that. Yeah, I just want to make sure. I'm not familiar, but I will find out.
Okay.
Just grab my pen.
Commissioner Sanders.
So actually, I have a kind of question from more Kevin than, with that statement, with the, drug testing, how does that work nowadays with all the legal?
They're still considered illegal, like marijuana. It's still illegal, even though it's legal in the medicinal portion of it. I don't know. I know that if any employee goes and gets drug tested and tests positive for any drug, that workers' comp insurance company will not pay the claim.
I find that really hard to
I did
believe
too, and I asked that question,
Because
but-
of, especially if somebody has a medical marijuana card,
Maybe there's an exception in that you have to produce evidence that you have a medical marijuana card. That part I don't know the answer to 100%, but I can find out.
Commissioner Wise.
In terms of workers' comp, my years as a department head, if we had an injury that wasn't an emergency to take to the hospital, they were required to go to a certain
Yes,
doctor. They couldn't go to their own doctor.
that's correct. And it's still the
So
same
I
way.
presume that's still
Yes, yes.
the
we-
case. I
yes,
mean,
so
somebody
we-
falls and, it's not a life-threatening or, situation.
Right.
Just send them to the doctor that the workers' comp covers.
Yes, and we're very aggressive in sending a person to that doctor, to that clinic that we are contracted with, or that we use. We're not contracted with, but that we use. Because we want to make sure that, first of all, we take care of liability, we take care of the employee, not necessarily in that order, but one and the same. And then make sure also there's no exaggeration, right, of injury.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions for the administrator about this topic? So from your perspective, I assume we should approve this so that we got coverage,
Correct.
and then we can do the shopping that Commissioner McMahon is suggesting.
Yes. Yep.
So we want to have coverage, obviously.
Right.
Mr. Chairman, I will, and just so the clerk is aware, I'm going to strike the first few words from this motion since we have the authority to act. So I'm going to remove to recommend to the full board. So my motion is just going to state to authorize renewal of the one-year access workers' compensation service for fiscal year '25 with Midwest Employers Casualty in the total amount of $88,887. to be paid from line item 101-242-713, and further to authorize the chairman or vice chairman to sign said final agreement.
If I could just like interject, yeah, we have it correct.
Can I correct that line item, instead of 101, can we change it to 677?
Yeah, line item 677 and the rest, is that correct? Okay.
I'll support.
Supported by Commissioner Zender. Any further discussion?
My question is, this is fiscal year 2025, and of course, our fiscal year has changed. Should it be calendar year 2025?
Yeah, so they call it fiscal year, but it is a calendar year.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
that's, yeah,
Yeah, that's an important distinction, because we're in a 9-month year right now.
right. But it's the calendar year. It's January, December.
Okay. Any other discussion on this motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Good. And since we've got you at the podium, we'll lever it into the liability insurance agreement.
So, we use MMRNA, to be our liability insurance company. They are, the predominant, liability insurance company in the state of Michigan for municipalities. Last year, our premium was $562,000. This year, rounding it down, or rounding it up, I should say, is $589,000. So we're talking about approximately $27,000 difference. They're great to work with. They give us, we don't have the total, but I will get the total. They give us a lot of grants throughout the year. You guys have approved them to bring improvements to safety and so on, and safety products to the county. Excuse me. So I'm open to any questions.
So this covers all our vehicles and stuff like that as well?
Yes.
And
Our buildings.
I know we've had several claims on vehicles,
Yes.
especially with our sheriff's department.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, so everybody knows.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure.
I would just, like you talk about grants, years ago, when we first started doing video arraignments, we had a closed circuit in the magistrate's courtroom just from the jail, and they paid basically for that entire system, because they thought, it was a liability to not bring more prisoners into this building to keep them out of the jail. So, it's always been a benefit. And of course, they're not a traditional insurance company.
No, they're actually, they're very unique.
Yes.
Yeah, so they give the county a lot of free training, for safety and things that, various things we're doing in the various departments. And as Commissioner Wise said, there was a time when they contributed substantially to a closed circuit, television or camera system at the courts. And recently, the camera system at the jail, what was the amount of that? Ran about $60K or something?
Yeah, and the jail bars, after that hanging incident, they paid half of the cost of the place to correct that issue.
Yeah.
So it's not a situation where it's money we spend to them, and if we don't have claims, we get benefit from it.
Yes, and they will reach out to us a lot. They're very proactive in saying to us, hey, what are you doing here with this part of the county? There are issues with liability in other counties with this particular function. How are you doing that function at your county? And here's some advice. So we use them a lot. Sheriff's Department pays attention to them a lot. They get a lot of grants from them. There's a lot to say about them. We'll be meeting with them in 2 weeks to finalize this policy if you approve the renewal. And at that meeting, we fine-tune the policy, and premium will change a little bit, but not much, and hopefully downwards. So,
Very good.
Is this also a calendar year? It says fiscal year on here, so this is the calendar year, so not our 9-month fiscal. Okay.
yeah, that's just some insurance companies that I
Gotcha.
know about.
Is there a motion as to the approval of the liability insurance?
I will move it.
Moved by Commissioner Zender,
Support?
supported by Commissioner Nicely. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Very good, thank you. The item as to Veteran Services Department, as everyone probably remembers, at the meeting in December, we approved the revised bylaws of the Veteran Services Committee to change the name, formerly Veteran Affairs. The feeling was it's better descriptive of what they actually do. Now we're at the point where the committee is officially changed, but it is a department of county government, so we need to authorize the name change of the county department. So if we could get a motion to recommend the name change to Veteran Services Department. At the next meeting, the director of the department will be here to give more background.
I'll make that motion that we change the name to the Veteran Services Department.
Support.
Moved and supported by Commissioner Zender. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We are now at the second public time, which is the general public time. Does anyone have a public comment they wish to make? Next, we have the administrator. Do you have any, and the chief financial officer, do either of you have something you want to share with us?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Sorry, we're having some communication with people outside of the meeting that are watching it with the audio, so I was communicating with some of them. Now we're gonna get it fixed. And Antonio's aware of it. So was Danny Bissett, our new IT director, or Technologies Management Director is the correct title. Anyway, one thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, and let me read it from my phone instead of bringing my laptop up here. I just wanted to give you guys an update. Yesterday, we all sat in a room together as we launched a first payroll with PCOM. This involves the entire county, all the departments, all employees. I have to say, from my past experience, I didn't let the team know that they were doing a good job, and they were actually way ahead of the curve on how it usually goes. Now, once you understand that we are literally going from apples to oranges, right? We've been using a much older system throughout the years that did its job, but now we're on a cloud-based system where we're gonna be, where, as I've explained to you in the past, is an employee self-service system. Basically, where the employees take care of their own HR work remotely from their homes to the desk with their phone. By yesterday, we had 87% had done everything correctly. They checked their check, they checked their data, their contact. I apologize for any inconvenience that employees had where we had them approve the check and then we had them approve their check again. Because we were doing test runs and we're working things behind the scenes. I will give you guys a heads up that when these systems launch on Friday, everyone's gonna get their first check throughout the county. This payroll and the next payroll, there will be some complaints, some gripes, and we're all standing by, we're ready to address them. But I just wanna let you know what's gonna happen. Once we're about 3 or 4 payrolls deep, you'll notice it's gonna go pretty quiet. If there's a couple people still complaining, I'm gonna be kind of bold to say, it might be a problem. But we're gonna still be there to help them. Anyway, we're pretty excited about this, and for those of you that are new, we brought in PAYCOM because the county essentially has had a one-person HR department for a long time. She's a superstar employee. As far as the volume of work she does, it's phenomenal. But basically, she processes all day long. And as a entity with nearly 500 employees, we need to do more HR, and we need that HR director to be more focused on facilitating policy change, making sure we're lowering our liability as a county, not only for our employees, but also to the public that we serve through our employees. And PAYCOM basically takes the work, that payroll work, a big portion of it, moves it out of HR and out of the county and puts it into the hands of the employees. And as those you know who are business owners, if you have a payroll service, you remove a lot of liability from yourself and you put it on the employee. They do their own W-4s, they select their own insurance, they put in their own contact information. It's up to them to update themselves, to update their file. So just want you guys to be aware of this. Thank you.
Very good, thank you.
Can I just make a comment on that?
Sure.
Everybody probably got a message that said, verify your paycheck. And I asked yesterday, I think, is that going to be on every payroll? And they said yes. But you don't have to do that. You don't have to prove your paycheck every single pay period. There's going to be 26 of them. So is that still the case, Moses?
Yeah.
Because it's confusing to some people. I mean, I understand now we don't have to do anything, but
Right, yeah.
after you do it the first time.
Yes, that's a great thing that you brought up. So we strongly encourage everyone to do it because it's basically a self-check thing, and you're looking at it and you're making sure you don't get a surprise on Friday. So you get to see it, make sure that you're getting the amount that you expect to get as far as the net check and the deductions and everything else. But if you do ignore it and decide you don't want to look at it, you don't want to approve it, you can. We're still going to send you your check. You just didn't take a look at it first. So.
Thank you.
Sure.
So I can just hit the delete button if I want to.
And then
You have to
you'll
delete
get
that
paid,
one.
right? Yes, yes, you want, yeah, you'll do that.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, at every meeting, we give the commissioners an opportunity to make any comments they may have. I'll start with Commissioner Wise at this end of the table.
I would just like everybody to remember Tom Lupo. Tom passed away on December 31st. Tom was a supervisor in Attica Township for over 12 years. He was involved in many public service activities. I had the pleasure of sitting next to him 14 days before his death at an EMS meeting. Had no idea, that'd be the last time I saw him. And I would just encourage all of you to make sure the people in your life, you make sure you understand that life can be short. And I just like everybody to remember Tom. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Nisley?
Not a lot to say. I think when we made our introductions last at the organizational meeting, I just want to mention again and emphasize, because I did the first time 2 years ago, the reason why I'm here and why I chose to do this is not that I have all the spare time and I'm doing it for the money. That's certainly not the case. As Chairman Howell said in his opening statement last week, that we have an opportunity to make a difference in our community here, and I think this is the best spot to do that, because we do have a lot of control over that. And he said I really couldn't do much in Lansing. The clown show in Lansing hopefully is over with now for the most part until 2026, and we can clean up the rest of the mess out there. I'm doing this for my kids and my grandkids. Everything that I do is, and if I'm doing something good for my kids, my grandkids, I'm assuming I'm doing good for your kids and your grandkids too. So I just want to make that point. And then, as I always do, remind everybody about the national debt. I think we're going to be able to aggressively attack that with the new administration and DOGE coming into after January 20th, which can't come soon enough. It's 11 days away. And, we're still $36.5 trillion fiscal operating debt and over $222 trillion of unfunded liabilities, along with everything else that's associated with that. And it's just, hopefully we can start reconciling some of those issues there with this new administration and get on the right track, and everybody in the country will benefit from that. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Commissioner Hagadin?
I think Commissioner Nisley said it best.
Commissioner Sander?
I guess I'd like just to make a comment about Tom Lupo. I had the pleasure of serving with him on the Emily City Lions Club for many years. Great guy, be sorely missed. We give Janie her condolences and her prayers. And with that, I'll turn it over to Scott.
Commissioner McMahon?
I have no comment right now.
Thank you. I always comment on outside meetings I tend to go to, just to remind people that we commissioners do more than just sit up here twice a month. Been acting with the Veteran Affairs Committee, soon to be the Veteran Services Committee. It's very encouraging to see the number of people stepping forth to aid our veterans who in many cases need assistance. I attended the Deerfield Township meeting last night, and it continues to revisit my faith in American democracy. It was a miserably cold night. Their agenda was very short, and yet the room had a significant number of citizens there, not to complain about any particular thing, but to see what was going on in local government and offer some comments. So that was encouraging to me as to American government going forward. Last comment is I deeply appreciate the members of this entire commission and the public and the staff. I think we're off to a good start. It's been a productive meeting. I appreciate all the commentary. And with that, we have no closed session today. I would make note that there are 2 committee meetings today. First will be the Properties Committee with Commissioner Zender chairing, and then after that will be the Personnel Committee with Commissioner Hagedorn chairing. They will both be held in room 302 upstairs. With that, have I got a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
Moved and supported, all